Post-meal brain fog is one of the most deceptive yet dangerous early warnings of metabolic imbalance, often ignored until it becomes a chronic state of mental fatigue. Feeling sluggish, distracted, or forgetful after eating may seem harmless, but it can indicate that the brain's energy metabolism is beginning to falter. Normally, food should restore vitality, yet in many individuals, it triggers confusion, drowsiness, or loss of focus. This is a sign that the body's handling of glucose, the brain's primary fuel, is becoming unstable. When glucose levels spike rapidly after a meal and then crash, neurons are subjected to sudden shifts in energy supply. These fluctuations impair cognitive performance, slow reaction times, and cloud memory formation. Over months or years, such repeated metabolic shocks can contribute to insulin resistance, inflammation in brain tissue, and even structural degeneration of the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, the very regions responsible for memory and decision-making. The danger lies in how insidiously this process unfolds. Most people dismiss post-meal fog as a normal reaction to a heavy lunch or lack of sleep, unaware that it often signals early insulin resistance, a state where brain cells stop responding efficiently to glucose. This condition, sometimes called type 3 diabetes, is increasingly recognized as a precursor to neurodegenerative diseases. When insulin sensitivity declines, neurons struggle to absorb energy, leaving the brain underpowered even as blood sugar remains high. The result is a paradoxical fatigue that feels like being mentally disconnected from the world, a kind of waking lethargy in which focus becomes difficult and simple tasks require enormous effort. Over time, these episodes can progress into chronic cognitive dullness, mood instability, and eventually long-term memory impairment. Repeated glucose spikes after meals don't only exhaust neurons, they also ignite inflammation. Excess sugar circulating in the bloodstream binds to proteins and fats, creating toxic compounds known as advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These AGEs damage blood vessels and accelerate oxidative stress, reducing oxygen delivery to the brain. The resulting inflammatory reaction makes neurons hyperactive at first, but then pushes them toward burnout. This biochemical storm may explain why many people experience irritability or drowsiness after carbohydrate-heavy meals. The brain is effectively fighting to protect itself from its own fuel supply. If this pattern continues unchecked, the delicate balance between glucose and insulin collapses entirely, paving the way for systemic metabolic disorders that extend far beyond the brain, affecting heart, liver, and kidney function as well. The cognitive effects of post-meal dysregulation are deeply disruptive. Mental fog manifests as slow thinking, difficulty recalling recent conversations, or losing one's train of thought mid-sentence. Decision-making feels labored and creative thinking dims. Over time, this chronic energy instability reshapes neural efficiency, synaptic communication weakens, neurotransmitter balance falters, and the brain's capacity to adapt, its neuroplasticity, declines. Sleep quality may also deteriorate as fluctuating insulin and cortisol levels disturb circadian rhythms. These symptoms are often dismissed as stress or fatigue, but in reality, they are metabolic warnings that the brain's power grid is flickering. Each episode of fog is a reminder that neurons are starving for stable energy while drowning in excess sugar. The modern diet is largely to blame. Processed foods rich in refined carbohydrates, artificial additives, and unhealthy fats flood the bloodstream with glucose faster than the body can manage. Beverages sweetened with high-fructose corn syrup and white bread or pastries consumed without fiber or protein send blood sugar levels soaring, forcing the pancreas to overproduce insulin. This roller coaster destabilizes not only physical energy, but also mental clarity. The post-meal crash, when insulin drives glucose rapidly out of the bloodstream, leaves the brain momentarily deprived of fuel, triggering the sensation of mental fog. Over time, this pattern conditions the body toward constant cravings and dependency on quick sugars, creating a cycle of addiction and burnout that quietly undermines both mood and cognition. The consequences extend into emotional health. Unstable blood sugar levels directly influence neurotransmitter synthesis. When glucose fluctuates, serotonin and dopamine levels swing erratically, leading to mood changes, irritability, and anxiety after eating. These emotional disruptions are not psychological weakness, they are biochemical consequences of metabolic chaos. As insulin resistance worsens, cortisol, the stress hormone, remains chronically elevated, compounding the damage. The constant presence of cortisol shrinks the hippocampus, erodes memory function, and heightens the risk of depression. Thus, what begins as mild post-meal fatigue may evolve into a full spectrum of cognitive and emotional disorders if left unchecked. The physical signs can also be subtle but telling. Frequent yawning after meals, the need for caffeine to wake up, or the urge to nap soon after eating are all signs that the body is struggling to process glucose efficiently. Digestive heaviness, bloating, and even headaches after eating are further clues of metabolic distress. Ignoring these signals allows silent damage to continue, tiny injuries accumulating in blood vessels, neurons, and mitochondria each day. The longer the brain endures these cycles of instability, the less flexible it becomes in managing energy, leading to chronic fatigue, memory gaps, and poor focus that often appear decades earlier than expected. Preventing post-meal brain fog requires stabilizing the body's energy response at its root by controlling glucose release and improving insulin sensitivity. The most effective defense is a diet centered on fiber-rich foods such as oats, lentils, beans, vegetables, and whole grains. Fiber slows glucose absorption, preventing rapid spikes and crashes that destabilize neurons. Adding natural insulin sensitizers like cinnamon can also support steadier blood sugar and improve metabolic resilience. Meals balanced with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates help maintain longer-lasting energy and reduce the likelihood of post-meal fatigue. Hydration is equally crucial, as even mild dehydration worsens glucose handling and cognitive performance. Physical activity after meals, such as a brisk 10 to 15-minute walk, can dramatically improve insulin sensitivity by helping muscles absorb glucose directly from the bloodstream. This simple habit reduces post-meal fog while protecting long-term metabolic health. Sleep regulation also plays a critical role. Poor sleep increases insulin resistance, while quality rest enhances glucose control and cognitive recovery. Avoiding late-night meals or heavy snacks allows insulin levels to reset overnight, giving the brain time to restore equilibrium. However, if brain fog persists despite dietary and lifestyle changes, it should not be ignored. Chronic post-meal fatigue may indicate more serious conditions such as prediabetes, insulin resistance, thyroid dysfunction, or chronic inflammation. Early blood tests for fasting insulin, glucose, and HbA1c can reveal whether the brain's energy imbalance has already begun progressing toward disease. Addressing it early may prevent not just cognitive decline, but also metabolic syndromes that threaten overall longevity. The most dangerous misconception about post-meal brain fog is that it is harmless or inevitable with age. In reality, it is the brain's warning cry that its metabolic stability is failing. Each episode represents a missed opportunity to protect cognitive integrity. Left unaddressed, this seemingly minor fatigue can evolve into irreversible neural damage, setting the stage for dementia years later. The fog after a meal should never be accepted as normal. It is the earliest and most reversible stage of a much larger problem. The choice to respond with discipline, awareness, and care determines whether the brain regains clarity and stability or slowly fades into chronic exhaustion. Every thoughtful meal, every moment of mindful movement, and every night of restorative sleep is not just a health habit. It is an act of protection against the silent erosion of the mind's sharpness and strength.